Military buildup at its border with Ukraine causing plenty of concern around the world. Here to talk about it is retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Blaine Holt. Sir, welcome back to Wake Up America.
It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. Sir, there are fears among our NATO allies that Russian President Vladimir Putin could launch an invasion inside the former Soviet Union, Soviet Republic. NATO warning that its members would impose significant costs on Russia if it happened. Now, is this a serious threat? Because we've seen this before. We've seen buildup. We've seen the troops there. But, we're hearing like this, they could mean business this time.
Well, they mean business every time. Logistically, they are absolutely sitting on the border of the Ukraine, and they've been there for years, but their posture and their status is much higher. And also we see things that are happening of a military nature inside Ukraine that should have everyone concerned, because we are now escalating this conflict. I am in touch with members of OSCE on the ground in Ukraine, and no one should have any illusions about some fragile peace that exists in the Ukraine. It is absolutely a very dangerous crisis, and NATO is right to be concerned.
Yeah, what are your sources on the ground telling you?
So we have seen military actions that resembled the kind that we saw when this whole thing got started back when Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk became, in the firing line. There are paramilitary operations. Those operations have to have support, and that support comes from across the border in Russia. I wouldn't say that anybody has seen Russian incursions with troops, but certainly the Russians are definitely sending the message that they intend to increase the pressure on matters over Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, meantime, Western nations dumping billions in financial aid and military support on Ukraine for years, but always stopping short of offering a clear path to NATO membership. Why do you think the holdup?
Well, it goes back to this concept of the membership access plan, which NATO had originated many, many years ago. And Ukraine and Georgia, Montenegro were always on this path to membership. But membership in NATO also comes with responsibilities and gates you have to go through. In the case of Ukraine, there was also this move that they would come into the European Union as well. Russia opposes this. Russia wants to have its near abroad separated from the West and Western European influence, and is making that case. And so we are seeing remnants of the Cold War playing themselves out again, but Russia has not changed its equities at all with regard to Ukraine.
Yeah, we talk to a lot of people, and they say that Russia really looks at us as weak with President Biden in office. You obviously talk to people all the time. Do you think that is the message, that Russia just sees us as very weak and they're not concerned about us at all?
I think Russia, like most states, you look at China, Russia, and other countries we might code as adversaries, and they are opportunistic, certainly, with their own interests. And right now, the things that we see playing out, everything from U.S. military policy with regard to health issues and the readiness of the force, the funding of that force, and then our role post-Afghanistan and what we saw happen this summer in Afghanistan. You certainly would be looking for opportunities to exact your foreign policy in the way that you want if you're one of those countries.
Yeah. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meeting with Russia and Ukraine counterparts. Do you think this is going to make a difference at all?
I'm dubious of that. I'm hopeful, of course, for Secretary Blinken to be successful, but I think that a very strong hand will be played on the Russian side of that table. The first sit down that they had with China, that if that's what we're to look to for a great example of what this should look like, then we're in trouble. But what I would say is I would wish them the best, and certainly these are really difficult issues. They've got to be tackled.
Yeah, obviously we'll be monitoring this story very closely. We thank you so much for your insight and obviously for your service. We thank you, General Blaine Holt. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Allison.
Of course.